Yo, ho, 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 ho. What's up, guys? It's Schizominix here. I'm here to talk to you about. We got another Fall 2016 anime that finally aired its first episode this week, or I mean today is what I really mean to say. And that series is Occult 9. And I figured, I guess it's about time to talk about it because I just watched the episode, and you always want to talk about an episode as soon as it comes out. Now, it's kind of the same rule as it is for Wagneria. If you guys want to see more of these reviews, which I might guess some of you might, because let's be real here, Occult 9 kind of follows that Monogatari issue of talking way too fast and making things way too fast-paced so people can't really catch up. All you gotta do is just like and comment on the video that you wanted. I'm gonna range it between 25 to 50 likes. If I can get somewhere in that range, I'll do another episode review, and we'll keep that up because I don't want to waste my time on something you guys don't care about watching. Anyways, so let's get into the first episode of Occult 9. I will say Occult 9, as I said before, is having the Monogatari syndrome where it's having these really fast. Now, granted, to me, I don't think it's as fast-paced as Bakemonogatari is, but it's still relatively fast-paced considering what other anime you can compare it to. It's also doing that whole thing where it's jumping from scene to scene. It's not like you're following just a pair of characters the entire way through. It's jumping from scene to scene to scene, talking about all these little subplots. It's kind of a more faster paced version of Dura in that way. The other thing I guess I can mention is that this might be the first show in which I see a girl's giant breasts and I'm like, okay, that's a little much for me. And I think what bothers me the most about here is, for one, this is like the biggest I've ever seen on like in a standard anime show that doesn't seem to be taking itself like insanely goofy. It also just doesn't make sense for her body proportions. The girl, I think her name is Ryotas, because I don't think we ever hear her full name, and if we do, there was a lot of shit going on, so it was kind of easy to miss their names. And honestly, because it's the first episode, I don't remember all their names yet. Her breasts seem way, I would say way too big, but I mean, if you're gonna make her a giant breast character, that's not the issue. I think it's almost to like, it's pretty much like hentai levels of giant breasts. And it's primarily because of her frame. If she was like taller, it probably wouldn't even bother me as much. But she's like a normal sized looking girl with breasts that are like fit for someone who's probably like probably like 5 or 6 years older than her. So it looks kind of jarring when I see it. It's not anything that takes me out of it because I've watched a lot of harem and fan service series, so it's nothing I'm not used to. But I can see it knocking people out of the immersion because of, especially the Earth when she's first introduced. They don't give a fuck about jiggle physics now, and I will say that it's kind of weird because the fan service is up there, but not really. It's like when she's on screen and she's bouncing around and shit. Yeah, it's there, but like even then, it's not as ridiculous as I thought they were gonna take it. Like with a girl with breasts that big, you would think they would take that all over the fucking place. But I guess we should talk about the actual other characters and the point of the show. It seems like so far. Shut up, phone. That always fucking happens. I'm always recording a video and the fucking phone goes off. I'm sorry. It's built up over years. Sometimes I'll just flip out on the fucking phone because it's a piece of shit. So the episode pretty much, it's one of those things where it doesn't seem like there's a main plot line, but we might be getting to it pretty soon. Our main character, I think, is Gamamota. I think is how you pronounce his name. Or just Gama. His first name is Yuta, so we'll just call him Yuta for the sake of this. Yuta seems to be that stereotypical nerd, neat character that for whatever reason decided, I'm going to make a blog, a live blog to get rich off of. And the blog I'm going to make is a blog based on shit in the occult. And I find it ironic that his blog, the purpose of it is to take well-known occult articles, shorten them down, and make them easy to read and digestible. But the show he's in is super fast-paced and will miss a lot of people just because they can't read the shit. I wonder if that's even too fast for Japanese people to watch. I mean, well, then again, that's like saying that doesn't really happen in America. There's usually not too many American. Well, there's very few American shows that do the same thing where they're super fast paced. But it seems like the main plot is revolving around him. Some of you probably don't even realize we had a flashback in that episode. The flashback in that episode was us seeing how Ryotas met Gamon or Yuta. I need to just call him Yuta. I don't know why I just lied to y'all and said I was gonna call him Yuta and then called him Gamon again. Uh, but a lot of people already know it's a flashback because it's so fucking short and because there's not much there except for uh, we're gonna assume something's happened to Yuta's father because he mentions it. The radio that he's holding, I think, is a memento to his dad from his dad, but I think his dad is probably dead. He doesn't really talk about his mother. I don't, from what I've seen or what I was able to catch. Ryotas just seems to be eccentric for the sake of being eccentric. Even her introduction to him was just her being eccentric. Also, I can't tell if the gun and the zapping that she does, is that just for comedic effect or is that a plot thing? Because, like, he gets zapped with it like twice, and like the people who see it, which is like one or two people, don't pay it any attention. But I can't tell, well, is the visual effect just for the viewer, or is that actually like what? Like, does that look that like the shock thing that happens to him when she shoots him with it? Does that happen? Like, do people in that universe, do people see that, or are they just seeing her play with the gun and pretend to shoot him and him over exaggerating about being shocked? I can't tell. But yeah, it seems like his goal is just to have a popular occult blog that makes a lot of money and create a valuable income. Ryotas doesn't seem to mind as much, but she does get on him for about being a fucking coward and a stereotypical light novel main character, right, guys? We have some subplots going on. The first section of the episode, besides the introduction of those two, is on this, like, I think his name is Asai, who seems to be a teacher at a school that one of the other characters we see in this episode goes to, and his father, I think, who apparently is a guy who believes in the occult, which is the short answer. I guess he writes books. The studio place that we were seeing, I'm guessing, is where he writes those books, or the place that publishes his books. And the girl that was sitting there thinking that maybe the old woman at his house was a ghost, I think it's just another one of those editors for him. So it seems like the connection is the guy talking about the occult is the father of one of the other kids, who him and his father seem to have some issues. And he's talked to this girl online who has something, who's trying to get this story or whatever out. Then obviously the editor girl seems to be involved because she's the one editing probably the books that he's famous for, whatever the fuck. Then you got the girl who runs this fortune-telling shop that was not really a fortune. Well, it's kind of a fortune-telling shop. It's more so a fucking place where you can curse people, who talks to demons and has somebody's hair in her mail because somebody really wants to curse another individual. Which means there was a rotting scalp in her mailbox. It's a very weird situation. All this shit is fucking weird. What's the other part? And then the other part is the TV star girl who wants to join their group because her fortune telling said it was something that she needed to do, which is stay by Yuta for whatever reason. Although I don't think they're gonna, if they're throwing any romances in here, I can't tell because Ryotas doesn't react to any of this crap, and she has like a pseudo distant relationship with him, so I don't know if there's going to be any level of romance in this series. Usually they do this, at least with a few of the characters. I don't know if that's the thing. So now his group is up to 3. This is one of the reasons why I say this episode felt like it was like they smashed 2 episodes together, because I feel like the new girl joining their group and her joining the group and becoming enlightened because of a ridiculous reason would have been something you would have saved for like the 2nd episode. But then again, considering how this episode ends, which is him finding that Mr. Asai is dead in the office, creates a whole new level of some shit. It's entertaining, I'll say that. And for someone who's used to watching the Monogatari series, the fast pacing isn't as bad. It's probably at its worst in the very beginning is super fast paced. It kind of mellows out a little bit as the episode goes on. So I'm curious if it's going to continue the mellow mood or is it going to keep jumping back and forth. Because that would probably be way more infuriating than whether it just picked fast or slow. We'll see. But I feel like the main plot is probably going to be the series of events that have happened because of Mr. Asai being killed as the guy who believes in the occult stuff. And then you also got the detective that was the little kid-looking detective that seemed to be wandering around Mr. Asai's home, where Mr. Asai's son seems to be going. And it becomes a whole nother thing. So pretty much Yuta's gonna get involved into a whole bunch of shit because he just happened to walk into an office in which a man was murdered. Now, whether they're gonna play this as, oh, he's being framed for the murder, so he has to duck everybody, or if they're gonna play this as he just knows about the murder, and there are a few people who know that he knows about the murder, which causes a fucking roller coaster of events, and especially because one of the assignments he gave the two girls was to go visit the girl who just got a fucking chopped off scalp and almost an entire like a full head of hair in her damn mailbox with blood still on it because the scalp was fresh and shit, and talks to goddamn demons. That's essentially what it is going to be. It's like he wants to be famous, and well, not famous, but he wants to be rich off his blog of bringing all these exclusive stories and shit, which is partially what he's using the idol girl for. He wants to do all of that, and through his quest to do that, probably something tying in with his father at some point later, is going to divulge into a whole bunch of shit. That's the short way of explaining it. The fact that this thing is called Occult 9 means that probably almost every character we've met so far are probably going to become a part of that group and be relevant in their own ways. Now, whether it's going to be like Dura, where it's actually like a group and there's like little subsections of groups, or if it's just going to be like multiple characters acting on their own and it just devolving into like one giant fuck me moment, I don't know. But I'll say it's interesting to say the least, and I'm looking forward to watching more. But please tell me your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. As I said, like this video and comment on it if you want me to do more episode reviews. My Patreon is down there, my Twitter's down there, my Facebook's down there. Thank you for supporting me and watching me, and I appreciate it. And life's a game, play to win, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace off.